This is day 2 of making a comic in 3 days from start to finish, from storyboard to coloring. Let's start. Now, if you watched the first video, you can already tell that this is the same place and this is the same day as before. But I've already explained this to you guys in the previous video, so I'm not going to explain that again. But for people who are just watching the second video, thank you so much for coming. I encourage you to watch the first video, but you don't need to because I will be giving a recap right now.
For those of you who are too fucking busy, here's what happened last week.
So in the first video, we discussed that I'm going to be participating in a comic competition, that I'm going to make a 10-page comic from start to finish. And in the last video, we were able to find the references, we were able to make a character design, we had a script, and we were supposed to do the storyboard. But the character design work took so much time that I was lazy and I did not do a storyboard. But we will do that today, so we will cover our tracks. We will be back on schedule today, so don't worry, okay? Don't get on my case.
I'm a grown-up.
Hey, you lovable scam. So, welcome back again to day 2. In this video, we already know what we're doing, so I'm not going to do intros again and again. So, let's click. That alarm, I don't know when I put so many alarms. Like, I don't remember putting so many alarms in. Whatever. Where was I? So, the plan for day 2 is to first finish the storyboards that I was unable to finish before, and then also complete the line art, which is actually supposed to be the agenda for day 2, but I think the line art is not going to be that hard. Maybe it will be, but I think it will. Yeah, and I think we should be able to do this because it's 10 pages and we have around 10-12 hours today as well. Hopefully we can do the storyboard in like an hour or an hour and a half, and then we can focus the rest of the time on completing the line art. So let's start off by making the storyboard. And just as I did in the previous video, I have severely underestimated how much work it takes to do a storyboard, because like even with the script, I don't even know what to, like, how do I make, what do I want to picture? Like in my head, I see what I want to see, but I don't know how to put that on a page. Like, it took me so much time to think of how to draw those storyboards, and now my respect for people who do storyboarding is just up here, because it's not easy. It takes so much time to like think about where you want to place the character, how you want to do this, because oh my god, even with this like tiny 10-page comic, I was struggling. But after struggling for a few hours, I was able to do the storyboard. But since I know the storyboard is going to take time as well, one thing I did that I personally think is like so smart is that I made like 10 artboards in Photoshop, which are going to be the 10 pages of the comic. And instead of storyboarding like normal people do, where they just make the story progression in a separate sheet and then like do the other thing in a separate one, I just started like storyboarding and making the rough comic panels at the same time. and I evenly distributed all of the storyboards and the panels and stuff throughout the 10 pages, and I made sure that it was like well distributed throughout the comic book. And in my opinion, that was such a good idea of me. Like, I feel so smart because, like, I am.
Brother, I'm so smart it's a disease.
Like, this is so smart, and this is a tip for you guys. Like, you can just do this, like, distribute and do the storyboarding throughout the comic panels. And it saves so much time, I think, in, like, thinking and also, like, pacing wise. Like, now you can decide about the pacing and you can make sure that the pacing isn't too fast or too slow. Like, imagine, like, you do the entire storyboard and it turns out that, like, the first half of your storyboard fills the entire comic panels and pages, as opposed to what I did, where I made sure the comic panels and storyboards, like, they're all equal. Like, it's such a good idea. I feel like a genius. Please don't tell me this is an actual thing people do already, because I feel so dumb. Let my delusion thrive right now. And also, while making the storyboard, I did not put any details in the storyboard. Like, they're literally, some of them are just stick figures, because I did not focus at all on making the storyboard look like a detailed one, because I already know there's only two characters. The tiny one is going to be the little brother, the big one is going to be the older brother. So to me, at that time, it did not make sense to do like a detailed storyboard stuff thingy, because I was like, I'm going to put in details later anyway. And actually, that was such a huge mistake. That was such a huge mistake, because once the storyboard was ready and it was time to put in the line art, I actually did have to create rough sketches of detailed, like, I guess, storyboards, because you can't put detailed line art when there's no, like, base that looks like the character anyway. I had to make the stick figures into the character design, then I had to adjust those designs according to the character design sheet, and then I had to make sure the perspectives weren't off, that the head wasn't too big compared to the body, and the legs weren't too long compared to the head, or like general stuff to make the character look like the same character throughout the comic book. And that made me realize, like, I shouldn't have put in stick figures. Honestly, like, I did regret that. And I think next time, if there is a next time at least, I will not make that same mistake. And you shouldn't either. Yeah. I mean, why am I giving advice like I've been doing this for years? Like, this is my first time. Cut me some slack. Cut me some slack, because this is my first time doing this. And I think I'm doing this much better than most people for their first time, at least. Yeah. So now that the line art, no, not the line art. So now that the storyboard is finished, it's time to move on to the line art. And since my computer has, mashallah, the processing power of a potato, line art was taking a lot of time. And that is the reason why I only filmed the line art process for only one of the pages, because it was taking so much time. And, like, I don't think, like, you can understand how frustrated you can get when you, like, draw a line and then you see, like, the line slowly moving like this. It, like, literally, when that happened, it made me want to, like, break something. So for my mental health, so for my sanity, I decided to not film the rest of the pages. I only filmed one of them. But from that, I think you can get a general idea of the kind of method I used. I did a rough sketch first of the characters and like tried to fix the perspective and the proportions of the characters. After that, I tried like giving the first clean line art, and then I like turned off the rough sketch layers, tried to see which parts could be improved, and then I did the final clean line art. So it was a 3-step process, and I think it worked. It was easy enough. I didn't have to use 10-20 layers, and as you can probably see, I did put in 0 effort in the backgrounds, which is okay, because it's okay, okay? Okay? Also, I want to make this clear that when I was doing the line art, I did notice things in the storyboard that I did not want to keep the same, that I wanted to change, because I noticed that there were things or changes that could be made that would improve the flow of the story, or I guess the drawings could be improved, or the like pose or things could be made better. And while I was doing that, I did make those changes. I did not stay too lazy and not make the changes that I thought would improve the comic, because the line art wasn't done yet and it was only a rough storyboard, so the changes, they could be made at this stage of the process. And I think that's also a really helpful tip, like before the line art, after the storyboard, before the line art, that is the time where you are free to experiment. You are free to make the changes that you think you want to make in your story. Next day, because don't be fooled by me just sitting here. The line art took a lot of time. I actually think because I was so motivated to finish the thing, the process, I don't know what, like to keep up with the schedule, I pushed myself very like hard, and I think I spent 15 hours that day in like trying to finish the line art, because I was that motivated or pressured, whatever you want to say. Yeah, so the line art is done, and next we can move on to the coloring, which in my opinion is going to be the easiest part. Actually, I forgot to mention one thing. I was also drawing bubbles as I was doing the line art. That's also like an interesting thing I saw, and that's actually a tip I got from like a YouTube video by Lavender Town, I think. Yeah, Lavender Town. Yeah, I love Lavender Town. Yeah, so I got that tip from her because she said many years ago also. I watched that video again, but it was a really old video, that she draws her bubbles by hand, and it gives a nice cohesive look to the comic, and I completely agree. I did do that, and it really does like give your comic a really nice cohesive look with the art style and everything. And yeah, that is everything for today. So I'll see you all in day 3. But day 3 is not going to be day 3, because I made a huge mistake, and I only realized it at the end of day 2. If you want to know what it was, see you in the next video. Bye.